Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the show. As you can see here, we're jumping right in. We're looking at the Putin-Trump summit over the war between Ukraine and Russia. They're meeting in Alaska. The president's plane has just landed. He's yet to come out. And Putin is believed to be arriving shortly if he hasn't arrived already. Now, I'm going to mute this. We're going to wait on that. So the idiot protesters are already out, whether they live in Alaska or these losers have nothing better to do with their time, so they flew to Anchorage. But here's some video of these people, and it's just awful.
Stand with Ukraine!
I stand with Ukraine! There's one general pattern for all of these mentally ill idiots, and it's that right there. They are all out of their minds. They all have to scream at you. They all have to shove their personal feelings and what they want down your throats. And God forbid that you're not interested and you want nothing to do with it. Well, then they need to attack you.
Trump thinks he can negotiate anything. He can't negotiate himself out of a paper bag.
I have a paper bag. You want that one?
Is our enemy. Let's not get it twisted.
This is just grandstanding for Donald Trump. He likes to look good and think he's doing something, but he's not doing anything. And meeting with Putin is, actually, I don't know who's worse in terms of making a deal and not actually adhering to it. So there's...
Once again, by the way, when you look at this gaggle of retards, what are you seeing? Is it all white people again? There are no minorities here. It's all overprivileged, idiot, uninformed white people. And by the way, like boomers in like really middle-aged white people, like 50s and 60s. I mean, that absolute fucking losers. Like Go to the Bahamas. Use your retirement money or something. You fucking bums.
Two guys in a room, neither of whom can be trusted or can trust each other.
America can help, but Trump has failed again and again. Are we really going to make any progress?
Look, point out the minority in any of this. First of all, that's like female Jeffrey Dahmer right there. It's like he's wearing, Jeffrey Dahmer just put on some woman's skin suit. So Jeffrey Dahmer has some thoughts.
We need to stand with
Ukraine. Okay, so here's the Joint Base Elmdorf Richardson where they're meeting. And I don't know if we're going to get any sound out of this here.
And I think they'll make a proper decision. But I'm not here to negotiate for Ukraine. I'm here to get them at a table. And I think you have two sides. Look,
I don't know why the video's weird. It's not me.
All of Ukraine. If I wasn't president, he would right now be taking all of Ukraine. But he's not going to do it.
This is on Air Force One. You see Brett Baer peeking his head out because Brett Baer's on the flight with Trump from Fox News, and he's been getting an exclusive interview from him. And this is just funny right here that he's peeking out like, "Hi, I'm here too."
What about the possibility of the United States providing security guarantees to Ukraine?
Maybe. Along with Europe and other countries. Not in the form of NATO, because that's not going to, there are certain things that aren't going to happen. But, along with Europe, there's a possibility of that.
Mr. President, the number of business people that President Putin is bringing along, is that something that you want to discuss with President Putin at this meeting?
Yeah, if we make progress, I would discuss it, because that's one of the things that they would like. They'd like to get a piece of what I built in terms of the economy. Just so you know, we were a dead country with our economy. He wouldn't be interested. He wouldn't have been interested a year ago with the Biden economy. But he is interested in the Trump economy because wait till you see when those factories start opening up. We have hundreds of factories all over the country, and that includes auto factories, AI factories, and every other. They're all coming in because they want to beat the tariffs. Because if they open here, they don't have to pay tariffs. If they don't open here, they have to pay, in some cases, 200%, 300%. I haven't even set some of the tariffs yet. I'll be setting tariffs next week and the week after on steel and on, I would say, chips.
Mr. President.
Chips and semiconductors will be setting sometime next week after.
You're looking at what rate?
We're going to have a rate that is going to be lower at the beginning. Then that gives them a chance to come in and build, and very high after a certain period of time. And if they don't build here, they have to pay a very high tariff, which doesn't work, so they'll come and build.
Mr. President, hi. You had said earlier.
Is he over there? Isn't he a gentleman?
He's helping me out.
He's a very nice. He's one of the few nice ones, actually.
You had said earlier this week that Putin would face severe consequences if you get the sense from him that he's not interested. What do you mean by that?
Economically severe. Yes, it will be very severe. I'm not doing this for my health, okay? I don't need it. I'd like to focus on our country, but I'm doing this to save a lot of lives. Yeah, very severe. Thank you very much, everybody.
So when they're talking about the additional sanctions on Russia, they're talking about secondary sanctions. The secondary sanctions end up meaning penalties to the countries that are doing business with Russia. So now you go from directly fining Russia or putting a tariff or whatever on them to putting it on India, putting it on China, because India is buying fuel from Russia. China's buying fuel from Russia. And I just don't see that working out. That you're going to put fines on them who we want to negotiate with, like we want an alliance with India. We don't want. I don't know why. I don't want to deal with any of those people, but we want an alliance with India and we want to be on good terms with them. So fining them for buying Russian oil is a bad idea. China, which I seriously doubt is going to cooperate with anything like that, is not going to work out either, and whatever other country. So the harsher sanctions on Russia, they didn't work with Biden, and I don't see them working now. Russia has found a way to continue to survive, despite everything. Now, one of the things that's a little odd for me, I'm just going to check that the president hasn't walked off. This is live. We're live here. Okay. President has not walked off the plane yet. This setup that's going on here, I know the left are being really critical and some others are being critical. I don't necessarily think they're wrong. This seems like it's a little bit of song and dance for all of this. So you've got Alaska 2025. You're trying to kind of blow this up and make a lot of pomp and stance out of it. And I'm not sure that war negotiations are that this is appropriate for war negotiations to give it this type of pomp and stance. I think you should. I know he's doing interviews and stuff after the negotiations with Putin. If they go well, I think Putin might be joining him for some of the Q&A with the reporters and everything. If it doesn't go well, Putin's going home, Trump's doing it on his own. And I think maybe this is the setup for it, for him to be here, stand at a podium and answer questions. This was prior to his plane arriving, obviously. And as you can see from the stairs that are set up to receive, the plane is pulled up. Here it is. And he's coming down here and walking down this red carpet when he does come down. But I don't think pomp and stance is, in my opinion, is something proper. If you know, so Trump lands. Daily Mail saying Trump lands in Alaska for showdown with Putin, but I don't believe Putin's there yet. Even though the summit is supposed to start in less than 30 minutes. My understanding, it was around 2:30, 2:40 that was supposed to start. But I guess it is what it is. Me personally, I wouldn't set all this up unless I knew that in principle we had a verbal deal, and then we were going to meet. We could make a big show of it. We've come together and we brought an end to all of this, and then you could have the pomp and stance for all of it. But if you don't, and this is going to be some talks, and you don't know that it's going to go anywhere, this unfortunately, with some people saying this is a little bit like a show thing, is unfortunately seems a little that way to me. So, just to kind of finish up, this is my page on X for anyone that wants to follow me there, the Relief Valve Podcast. And here's some of the conditions that Russia is looking for them to agree to a ceasefire. and maybe a 30. So this is just a 30-day truce. I talked to this dummy Grok, see if I could at least get a decent answer. So Russia has proposed two main options, both seen as non-starters by Ukraine. By the way, Ukraine's not here. I know Trump is saying they're trying to hammer out just a foundation of where they can come together and agree, and then be able to bring Ukraine to the table after that. But right now, either they refused to show up or weren't invited, and I'm getting mixed information about what it was. But this is what Russia wants. So full Ukrainian military withdrawal from the Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, Kherson regions, which Russia says illegally annexed in 2022 but does not fully control. Alternative package measures. Ukraine must halt all military mobilization, redeployments, freeze all Western arms deliveries, including satellite intelligence and communications. Some of that coming from Elon Musk, by the way. His Link thing is being satellite is being used. Ban any third country forces on its soil, end martial law, begin demobilizing its forces, hold presidential parliamentary elections within 100 days, because Zelensky's already over his term. Zelensky has refused to allow elections while the fighting is happening. So Putin's a bad guy. Yeah, we get it. Zelensky's a bad guy too. No elections while he's fighting. He's refused. And they want elections. And for Russia's side, they want elections so they can get a pro-Russian politician back in control again. Because before Zelensky, it was a pro-Russian politician. Russia has stated that failure to meet these would result in continued military operations, and any truce must lead directly to peace talks under Russian terms. The long-term demands are, if the ceasefire holds after the 30, Russia insists on following as part of a final agreement, often requiring endorsed by the UN Security Council, territorial recognition, international legal acknowledgement of Russia's 2014 annexation of Crimea that happened under Barack Obama, and its 2022 annexations of the Donetsk region, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia. Russia must retain all currently occupied land with potential concessions of any additional territory it claims, but does not control. Neutrality and non-alignment. Ukraine must declare permanent neutral status, abandon its NATO membership aspirations, and refrain from joining any military alliances or hosting foreign bases. Demilitarization, strict limits on the size of Ukraine's armed forces. So they essentially want to disarm Ukraine completely as well. Maximum personnel, weapons, and vehicles, disabandonment of nationalist units, because they have a couple of Nazi units, neo-Nazi units. That's the Azov unit, and the National Guard, and a permanent ban on Western military aid. The denazification and cultural policies, ban on the glorification and propaganda of Nazism and neo-Nazism, dissolution of nationalist parties and organizations, outlawing of Nazi propaganda, and guarantees for the rights of Russian-speaking populations. Russia must be elevated to an official language on par with Ukrainian. And as I stated, they have some Nazi units. Those Azov units are neo-Nazi units. They've got the SS tattoos. They've got the swastika on their bodies. They are New Age Nazis, and they're fighting as kind of like mercenaries for Ukraine. The left doesn't seem to have a problem with this, by the way. We're all fascists and Nazis, but the fascists and Nazis that are fighting for Ukraine are perfectly fine because they're fighting for Ukraine. Economic and diplomatic normalization, lifting of all sanctions against Russia, waiver of any claims for wartime reparations or compensation by either side, the resumption of full trade, communications and diplomatic relations, renounce sabotage operations on Russian territory, including occupied Ukrainian areas, and agree to buffer zones along the border. I believe it was proven that the damage to that Nord Stream pipeline was done by the Ukrainians. They used a Chinese fishing vessel, or got their hands on another merchant vessel that wasn't aligned with Ukraine, and it was a Ukrainian dive team that ended up doing that damage to the pipeline. They were caught by Norwegian Navy patrol and brought into dock and questioned, because I had done the story a while ago at the time, and I believe it was proven at that point that they were Ukrainian. You remember the back and forth when the pipeline got hit. Ukraine was blaming Russia. Russia was blaming Ukraine. It turns out it was Ukraine that hit the pipeline. But so you've got all these demands from Russia, which are a lot. It's essentially it sets Ukraine up to be ripe for the taking in a couple of years. So really, the only thing Putin has to do is kind of sit back, take a break, for a couple of years, maybe wait till Trump's term is over. And while we're transitioning to a new president and a new House and Senate, go ahead and hit Ukraine again and finish it off. And if it's been demilitarized and you've been able to keep all of the areas that you've taken so far, it'll be that much easier to just roll right through Ukraine and finish it off. So the demands are enough in place that it's made to look like they're putting in a good faith effort, that they want to talk, but really the demands are so extreme that no one's really going to go for that. Now, is there room to talk in the middle and wipe some of these things out and come up with some other concessions? Sure, but I really don't see this happening here. I wish I could cover it for today. I have to go to work, so I'm not going to be able to. I will come back after this is done. The president hasn't even left the plane yet. I'll come back tomorrow and I'll give you, because I'm going to watch the entire thing. Nick Fuentes, who I'm following now, is going to be live streaming, watching this, and then giving his thoughts on it as well. So I'm going to check all of that out and then share some of my thoughts with all of you after the summit is over. And my personal opinion is I really don't see it going anywhere, but who knows? Let's let it play out, and then we'll talk about it then. All right, thanks everyone. Like, share, support the show, and I'll see you guys soon.